Three, two, one. Hi, hello, and welcome to episode number 29 of yet another Expat, your favorite podcast. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well as the weather is changing, slowly entering the winter, getting closer and closer to that October time when the 1 hour we keep so preciously in our hands is going to be given back to the gods of time. This is if you are in a light saving time country. I don't even know. I'm too tired to know how it's called, but we give 1 hour in October, we take it back in March, and this is how the cookie crumbles. But in any case, enjoy that sunshine while you can. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm here in Berlin, and when it's sunny, you would think it's warm. It's not. The cold hits you in the face, and the wind says hi too. But yeah, I almost got out with a t-shirt, seeing the sun, and then I checked the weather. It was 10 degrees, so I got myself covered. What a weird intro. Let's get this going. So, people beat each other up. Wild intro, I know, but this is one of the media favorite topics, especially boys beating each other up, but sometimes girls too. Following the Greek media, there is a lot about, young violence, and it's a very, very hot topic. The youth and how violent they are. They're all listening to this trap music. And the trap music only talks about hitting each other, so this is what they are doing. And I'm not denying that they are doing, or that trap music talks about a lot of violence in there. But I really bet that this has been a topic since the dawn of time. But now we have internet and videos and smartphones everywhere, so these videos of kids beating each other up can circulate much more. And yeah, there are quite a few of these, but one of them was specifically about two 17-year-old boys that went to a 12-year-old with a falsetta. Now, a falsetta is the Greek way to say it, and when I'm say the word, it really doesn't sound Greek at all. I would guess it's Italian. But hey, we had a few visitors for a few hundred years in our country, so you give some, you take some. That is language. But a falsetta is a straight razor. This is what Google says. It's like that razor that the barber would have to razor your beard if you have a beard or you go to a barber. It's just a thing that folds. Sweeney Todd. Had you seen the Sweeney Todd? What a good movie. But this straight razor that can flip basically is the falsetta. So these 17-year-olds had a falsetta with them, and they went to this 12-year-old, and what did they do? They shaved the mustache of the boy. I'm trying not to laugh, but they apparently bullied that little boy by shaving its mustache and also getting €2 from the student. Now, they said that they did it as a game, and then apparently they have been shaving other people's mustaches. The most surreal thing was that the father of one said, yeah, they were playing. It's a thing that they do. He also shaves my mustache. I thought, Jesus Christ, what a horrible way to try and justify your bully son. Apparently, they were terrorizing the children with this flipping razor. But I have a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions because you're a bully and you are a committed bully. Like if you're a 17-year-old and you go to the 12-year-olds, you have so many options from all the methods of bullying. Why shave their 12-year-old mustaches? Like what's up with that? Yes, I get it. Those mustaches, they're annoying. I mean, have you seen them? I've seen them. I had one. We call it the mouse mustache because it's so thin and disgusting. I get that. And a lot of kids like them. They when you're 12, you think it's a sign of manhood. You're like, ooh, I'm growing my own mustache. The ladies must love it. But it looks ridiculous. It looks like an indecisive eyebrow that got lost somewhere in your face. So I get it. When I had one, I was close to shaving it myself. But why bully kids shaving those away and then get lunch money like €2? You have no shame. What are you going to do with €2 in Greece in 2024? What are you going to buy? Like two cigarettes or another blade for your razor? Gotta keep the business going. Maybe the bully changes the razor every time they shave a mustache. But this reminded me of how it was back in my day. How weird to say things like that, but bullying is not new. We had bullying in my school too, and I have to say, from a personal point of view, I was never a bully, but I have to say that bullying was almost fun. What I mean is that it was a way for the youngsters to taste the waters of adulthood, you know? This is how we saw the bullying back in the day, because you could kind of access the bullying in and out, you know? If you wanted to show off, you could make fun of the bully, then they would want to fuck you up. They would chase you and beat you, and then you would have, I don't know, 50-50 chances. And then you need to keep low, lay low for a while and all that. And I understand there is something very animalistic about this whole concept of bullying people around in school, in these groups, when you're at this age where there's always someone who's older than you, and there are so many things that are fighting for space in you when you're a preteen boy, and yeah, trying out the behaviors, different behaviors to the established males and see what happens. It's like it can happen. It's kind of like tribe shit. And I'm not saying it's good for anyone to get bullied or beaten up. I'm just saying that from my point of view, there was also something challenging in it to somehow claim a bit of space or interact in the dangerous areas of the school. Now, the most challenging place in our school was the toilets. The toilets was like a prison. If you wanted to test yourself, you could try hanging out there. The toilets were in the basement of the school, so you had to take two stairs down. And when you reached that place, when the stairs finished, there was like there were bars. There were bars and the gate that also had these bars because they wanted to be able to lock the whole thing when the school would finish. So you would go down two pairs of stairs and you would have these bars. You could see, but you could not go. But this very, very much looked like a prison if you think about it. Yes, during the recession, during the break times, this door would be open, and seeing this cage-looking entrance, it made us think of only one thing at the time, and this is 2004, 5, 6, 7, and all that. It's wrestling. Now, back then, our generation watched a shit ton of SmackDown and WWE and all of this wrestling fighting. So you can understand that there was some wrestling going on down in the toilets. Most of it voluntary, like we would try moves one to another. But this was like the more innocent things. Then were the children that was in the high school, because we were together from 12 to 18 basically. It's what in Greece we call high school, junior high school, and high school, or gymnasium and lyceum, but you're all together. And the high school kids, 16 to 18, you didn't want to mess with. If you could last down there for some time without getting picked on, then you were somehow building up your rank. You know, if you wanted to be cool, you needed to go down to the toilets. And maybe no one would pay attention to you and you could have some fun by observing all the weird things happening there. Or someone might pick on you and then maybe you have a friend or you just work it out. It was never like dangerous, dangerous. No one. We didn't have knives and falsettas and any of that shit. It was just, intimidation by size. And for me, I most of the times I would be very much okay to observe. I was always good with words, so that would get me along. I don't remember that much besides the wrestling and then some a lot of smoking, cigarettes. There was always this rule that if the first years, the 12-year-olds, those were the ones that were having the first class of junior high school. They were actually quite protected in our school. They needed to pee a lot. I don't know why, but they had the highest numbers of wanting to pee. And if there was other things going on like fighting or wrestling, we would actually make space for them to go pee. So that was really nice. But I have this one memory. Most of my memories are of me being 14 and 15. And this is where you look up to the 17-year-olds. And there was a guy that had one of these first phones that could have, a wallpaper or a bit of music. And he did this ridiculous thing. He somehow got a hold of a sound of a barber machine. And I'm telling you, if now this sounds somehow smart, back in that time, we didn't even know phones could, I don't know, play different music. So as people would go down the toilets, he would grab them and start putting his phone on their heads, playing the barber sound. So basically, you would think that your head is getting shaved. That was quite an experience, I have to say. I also found it hilarious for myself. I was a victim of that, but I thought this is so freaking smart. But yeah, we always protected the little kids. No one should pee themselves. So they always had a safe passage. There was also the different tierings of bullying. So if a middle bully would bully someone quite young, then the older bully would bully the medium bully. So there was a bit of self-regulating systems through the different ages at the time. But yeah, there were also some kids that really went looking for it, and perhaps it's what I said before, trying to test out different behaviors, trying to establish yourself in the male tribe. For whatever reason, maybe they didn't have enough attention at home, or they wanted to check how brave they feel. Some kids wanted to enter the pit, and sometimes I was one of them. Let's move on. The Berlin Marathon happened, so this is something that is fresh news out of this weekend. And to be honest, I have never run a marathon, and then I've been there to some marathons as a photographer a long time ago, and I had to photograph a company that was doing some stuff at the event, and I was photographing people finishing. But I've never been a close part. I've mostly been an observer. And today I had to go somewhere, and I had to actually bike through a lot of different parts of the marathon. And I had a friend who was cheering at a specific point and said, "Hey, come, let's come say hi there." And I spent some time, and I have to say, this was such a good vibes event. Such a feel good event. Just being there, cheering for other people. It's a place you're constantly allowed to scream and shout and clap and yell. And because people are running non-stop, like there's never a moment where people are not running. So anytime you feel like shouting or clapping or really focusing on someone that says, "Yes, you can do it," you have unlimited chances to do that. And it feels so good. I did not believe that. This was the surprise for me, how good it felt. And everyone was cheering, and there were so many hilarious signs for people to keep going from their friends. And I saw one that was a sign that said motivational sign on the sign, and I loved that. There were bands playing music during different points, and this is really nice. If you're running, it must keep you going. Like the scenery changes, you hear the live bands every now and then. You have the different groups of people cheering. Because let's face it, running is boring. Running long distances, my goodness, it gets so boring. And I know after the first kilometer, they say that you get into this trance, you get into your head, and the rest of the thing goes on its own. You're just up there in the cloud. But how long can you be in the cloud? This is hours and hours of running. So, yes, very much loved being part of the crowd and cheering. And I did that thing where you extend your hand and people slap it, like doing high fives. And I don't know why it feels so good. And for the people they're running, I was in the 20th kilometer. So, I guess it's a point where you do the half marathon. Maybe you need a bit of a boost. Maybe you need a bit of a boost everywhere. But just high fiving people as they were running and sweating and barely there, you could see how that does a mini shock to them, like shakes them up. Like I could feel the energy transfer between us every time we did this high five clapping. It's not a high five because the hand is not high. It's like extending straight and a bit down. So it's like a mid five. So yes, a lot of mid fives, very good vibes, very much enjoyed it. One comment I have, not so many costumes. And in Greece, because I've been in the Greek one, there are a lot of people dressed as all sorts of things running the marathon. And I don't know if it is because it's the OG. So maybe it has a different flair. How do you say? Flex doing it. But I remember in Greece there were a lot of costumes and people dressed up, and a lot of barefoot runners as well. But Berlin was a little bit more serious. I saw one Hulk dressed as Hulk and painted green. But yeah, Berlin is also the fastest track for a marathon because it's relatively flat surfaced compared to other cities. So it is where people come to break records. And someone was telling me that a lot of the registration is reserved for those who really don't fool around. So maybe they have more marathons in their resume, or there is a bit of a tiering of how many spots go where. So basically, they told me that maybe there are not so many randoms running the marathon. But yes, in any case, it was lovely. I really liked it. And I am starting Pilates on Monday. Do you care? No, you don't. But I haven't shared updates about my physical health journey. That makes it sound like I have some problems. Let's just say the summer in Greece was a really good summer. I indulged myself in all the beautiful tastes. Last week I was also in Barcelona. Also, really good food. So, winter is coming. I need to get my shit together. So, I found an instructor. I basically put an ad on a Facebook group that said, "Hi, I don't know who wants to train me or what type of training you can do. I'm very open. I just want something that is good vibes and friendly energy and will kick the guilt I need to get myself going, or this accountability. I mean, also if you're paying for it, it's painful, so you have to do it. And I could pay myself, but I'm not a good instructor. So the only thing I'm consistent about is this podcast. Let's just say that. I'm super excited. And my hope is that it will spark the spark to light up the flame so then I can go running, getting some cardio in, and all that. The good thing is that I've quit smoking for a long time now. I keep losing track because sometimes I smoke for a week and then I stop again. But it is a few years that I have stopped smoking. So this is what I tell myself when I get more round in my belly. This is the excuse I give to myself. Because I read this thing that said if you quit smoking, do whatever else you want. You want to eat junk food all day, just go with it. Just replace the smoking with whatever habit you can find, because most habits are going to be, even if they're pretty bad, they're still going to be so much better than smoking that it's a good start. So I allowed myself to get into that, and now I am trying to take more steps away from bad habits. But yes, getting back on track. Speaking of getting back on track, do you know who got back on track? The Careta Careta Turtles. Some unexpected news, but very welcome news coming from Greece. It turns out that the Careta Careta, the sea turtle that is called a loggerhead in English, is making a comeback. This turtle is living between the Zakynthos, the Zante Island, and the Messinian Gulf, and it has been almost extinct since the 80s or 90s. And conservationists are reporting record numbers of nests in the island's beaches, which has been dubbed as the Mediterranean's greatest maternity ward for these loggerhead turtles. I saw a very similar species in Yakushima, an island in Japan, a loggerhead turtle that looked like our Careta Careta. But these are some of the oldest animals. They have been in business for 100 million years. And it took 25 years of effort since they were almost extinct, but now it seems that the hard work has paid off. Finally, the entire Mediterranean is seeing a rise in sea turtle nests. There have been long-term strategies to try and bring these back. Surveillance to ward off the predators. And where I come from, the southern of Greece, where my dad comes from, it's also part of the coastline that these Careta Careta go and nest. And they will actually go and give birth where they were born. This is what they say, at least. Greece hosts 60% of the Careta Careta nests. And not long ago, they were really flirting with extinction. But there have been NGOs that go and identify the nests and then they build around them. They made stricter laws on the beach bars and whatever can operate on the beach, because this is also a problem. The little hatchlings, they would get out of the nests, and then because of the lights, they would go to the bars instead of the sea. And this is because the way that they navigate is through the reflection of the moon on the sea and the reflection of the stars. So they are programmed when they go out of this nest to go to the brightest place, because usually this is the water reflecting something. But if you have built a big beach bar in the back of the beach, well, that sounds like a pretty bright place, doesn't it? But yes, we're seeing double since 2023. So this is pretty good. These turtles become so big, they look like, if you can make the biggest circle with your hands, the turtle is like, can be 2 times that. And I've seen some in real life after the sunset. If you're very quiet and you stay at one of these beaches, that they go and lay eggs, you can see their heads pop out. And then when it gets almost dark, they slowly swim out. They drive themselves up the sand. They dig a huge hole, and then they start laying out so many eggs. It's the most exhausting thing I've witnessed in my life, and also breathtaking and beautiful. But yes, anyway, they're doing great. And it's not perfect, of course. Only 1 in 1,000 of the hatchlings make it to adulthood, but in conservation terms is as good as it gets. So, good news for sea turtles, and a small win for all those who think that, yeah, every now and then we can get our act together. And on the feel good side, did you know that helping others creates a specific chemistry in our brain's reward system? They even call it has a name, they call it the helper's high. And it's a boost in mood and energy. And yes, more research confirmed that positive emotions following selfless service to others occur, and they are associated with greater health and increased longevity. So these turtles must be doing a lot of good deeds. Haha, what a joke. Sorry for that. Yes, generosity, selflessness, and an extended sense of self favor, our ability to confront successfully the environmental challenges we face. Basically, there's more proof out there that helping others affects our body and our brain. They did some studies on volunteering work, and not only it immediately affects the brain, but over time, continual volunteering experiences actually have an impact on lifespan. Basically, yes, more acts of kindness will help lower your stress level and make you live longer. So don't bully people, go save some turtles, and yes, go cheer in the marathon next time it's around for the people. This has been the podcast. I have been Hermes, and I wish you a lovely week ahead. Ciao.